a recent wine tasting. There just happened to be a lot of white wine this time. And we started talking about it more and more these days. We're drinking white wines. White wine's probably more impactful in some ways than red because you can afford better whites than you can red. You get more for your money, in my opinion, especially if we're talking about Burgundy, but other areas as well. Some of the wines that we had during this tasting were fantastic. They were really a lot of fun. We'll talk a little bit about those, give you my notes on them, and then maybe just round up with a little, afterthought on drinking more whites, man. Let's do it. We kicked it off with a few champagnes. There was 3 champagnes. When you're starting off the tasting with a Grand Siècle, things are going to only, even if they get worse, it's always going to have been a good tasting, right? So that was pretty good, even though for me it was the least impactful of all the champagnes. The second one was 100% Pinot Noir from Roger Drouhin, La Pelle, 2013. Gave it a really high score. It was spicy and delicious and Christmas spice notes to it. And it just grew over the night. Maybe a little bit flat in the bubble department, but at the same time, just a beautifully winey experience. I really enjoyed it. Then we had an Initial from Clos, Blanc de Blanc, 100%. Those bottles back in the day. You could always find some if you wanted some. You never had to stock up on it. Nowadays, rare and hen's teeth and definitely more expensive. Lovely little bottle. We got into the white wines. The first one, there was some discussion over whether it was defective or it wasn't. Apparently, if I understand correctly, they used some plastic to try and take away the cork taint in it. I didn't detect any cork taint. It was maybe not as big of a wine as it should have been, but it was a 2014 Clos Hune. I think it's too young. They're always a lot better when they get really old. That's just one of those styles of white wine. It doesn't always deliver pure joy, but I've had enough of them to know that once they get older, they get intricate and they have that regal quality about them. Assuming it's not corked. 13 white stones. We had white bones at the last tasting. This one also right away had this telltale spearmint in the nose, really big. My first temptation was to just say it's another white bones. I was perfectly certain it wasn't Burgundy. These white stones, they're important, they're regal, they age well. That's the best thing I like about it. But you don't maybe expect Chardonnay from other parts of the world to get more chops with age. These do. Chardonnay is just one of those wonderful grapes, can grow from in a lot of different places of the world and respond very, very differently to different terroirs, different climates, and pick up a lot from the environment that they're grown in. And here, obviously, there's something minty in this environment because like the white bones and the white stones, they're always coming out with that mint nose. Then another white wine, very pale, had a very Sauvignon Blanc kind of type nose to it.
Avoid English boxwood if your nose objects to the strong boxwood scent.
But a soft delicacy, and you knew it wasn't Sauvignon Blanc. It was too good. It had a lot of power, but a soft power. I guess presence, really. Some tobacco and pepper. And right towards the end, Japanese sake, because it lacked acidity. It's got the complexity and a lot of floral stuff going on. But maybe the finish is a little mute. Definitely wouldn't say Burgundy just because we wouldn't say it's a Chardonnay. And it isn't. It's a Pinot Blanc from Burgundy. From Henri Gouges, from Nuits-Saint-Georges. It's a Premier Cru. It was very special and stood out in its own way. I really enjoyed this wine because completely unexpected, and it takes you for a little ride, and it's still a high quality wine. You know what I mean? It's not just something that's interesting for interesting's sake. There's a really strong case for having this in your cellar, definitely for trying it. Henri Gouges is a great producer too, right? The last white was darker, gold, mature, bold. The first thing I wrote in my notes was, must be Grand Cru. How can it not be Grand Cru Burgundy? But if it wasn't, I'd be super disappointed if it wasn't somebody who was trying to mimic that style. Powerful, maybe a touch over revving. It wasn't as composed as the accompanying grace that would go with the power of a white Grand Cru. From the depths of the bottomless ocean comes this thunder power that drives upwards, but it brings a rush of warm water, you know what I mean? That just caresses your skin and makes you feel soft and babyish all over. And this didn't have that. It was much more like I'm sitting in the soft plush leather of a custom Corvette or something with a giant engine that's making a ton of noise. You can feel it in my bones, maybe. Some salt, some caramel, super, super long. It was even floral, maybe a little higher in alcohol, some biscuits and honey. So lots of things going on, right? The whole package. Exactly what I expect from Grand Cru, except that it was a 13 Kongsgaard Chardonnay. Come on, dude. Come on. What a wine. Fantastic. Not as much fun young, but boy, oh boy, with these years of age on them, just delivering on every cylinder. Really, really fantastic. Next was a wine that should have been a little easier for me to recognize. It had a lot of coconut to it, a lot of exotica, a nice round smoothness to it. Very seductive. A lot of depth, a lot of character. The Drouhin 09 Perrière. Can you imagine that? A Meursault Perrière that I missed in a blind tasting. I mean, this is about as far away from Perrière as Perrière can be, in my opinion. I think it's the vintage. 09 was one of those vintages, super warm and maybe lost a little bit of its character, mineral backbone. Not to say it wasn't mineral, it just wasn't one of the defining characteristics, but a very enjoyable glass. And I'm really thankful that that one ended up in the tasting, because who doesn't like a good glass of perfectly appoint Perrière?
White wine. Yeah.
The world is awash in fantastic white wines. It's a net positive, right? You can still afford to drink great white wines if you're a fine wine chaser and not break the bank compared to reds. That opens up a whole world, literally a whole world of options to really get the fine wine experience in a way that feels relevant and feels serious and doesn't feel like you're compromising in any way. Also, you have to wait longer on the reds. As far as I'm concerned, you do. It's a go, go, go world, right? Who's got time to wait? That's what I have for this time. Thanks so much for watching. I'm off to Paris. I'm sure there'll be a lot of white wines along the way. When I get to them, I'll bring them up here. We'll see you again soon.